The Sustainable Development Goals. Action towards 2030. The world population is estimated to increase by 2 billion, from 7.7 to 9.7 billion in 2050. If we continue our current lifestyle, we will encounter a shortage of food, fresh water, land, energy, and other natural resources. For this reason, the United Nations launched the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, which consists of 17 goals at the UN Sustainable Development Summit in September 2015. World leaders from 193 countries agreed to attain these goals to eradicate poverty and hunger, fight inequality, tackle climate issues, and achieve sustainable development. The summit ended with negotiations between all governments in the UN, and the goals were put into effect in 2016 to attain them by 2030. 3 principles underlie the Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs. First, the SDGs should be universal, i.e., applying to all countries, whether developed or developing. Raising people's awareness of the goals and how to address the issues actively is the sole path to attaining these targets. Global challenges, such as tackling climate change and eliminating poverty, require global solutions. These goals cannot be achieved by a single person or country, and require the support and coordination of numerous governments and citizens to ensure that this planet is preserved for everyone. Secondly, the SDGs are holistic and integrate all dimensions of sustainability: economic, social, and environmental development. The economic dimension includes stimulating economic growth, innovating industries and technology, and improving working conditions. The social dimension involves eliminating poverty and hunger and increasing the number of healthy citizens. Environmental development covers tackling climate change, using renewable energy, and providing clean water and sanitation for all. All of these dimensions should go hand in hand. For instance, they state that countries should build an infrastructure to support economic development and well-being while ensuring equal access. The infrastructure must also be upgraded without harming the environment and adding to carbon dioxide emissions. Most importantly, the SDGs state that no one should be left behind. Governments have agreed that goals are met only if they are met for everyone. This means that everyone, regardless of race, gender, religion, and status, should have equal access to education, healthcare, job opportunities, clean water, and sanitation. The key to tackling discrimination and inequality is getting rid of exclusion. Recently, Japan has held a variety of symposiums and exhibitions related to promoting gender equality, aiming toward decarbonized society, and tackling climate change. The events allowed people to think deeply about global issues and envisions the future at both the global and local levels. To make the world a better place, everyone should be aware of the current global situation and change how they think and behave. While the goal may appear ambitious, it aligns with the very needs of the world.
Climate action. Climate change, often called the climate crisis in recent years, is a significant threat to our lives. One of the most common outcomes is heat waves, as record-setting temperatures become a more frequent occurrence across Japan. The main cause of the increasing temperature is the extensive use of fossil fuels and toxic emissions from factories and automobiles. The release of harmful gases, including carbon dioxide, CO2, into the atmosphere at an increasing rate has further promoted the greenhouse effect. These gases trap the sun's heat in the Earth's atmosphere, causing the average temperature to rise. The increased temperatures cause abnormal weather, such as floods, typhoons, droughts, and heat waves. The effects of global warming have been accelerating. The Earth's average temperature has risen by about 0.6 degrees Celsius over the 20th century. According to a study conducted by the French National Center for Scientific Research, it is estimated that the temperature will rise by about 5.8 degrees Celsius by 2100. This would be devastating to humans, animals, and the environment. To avoid the irreversible effects of global warming, the Paris Agreement was drawn up in 2015, which aims to limit the rise in temperature to 2 degrees Celsius and eliminate global greenhouse gas emissions by 2050. Japan is heavily responsible for combating global warming by achieving the target because it is the fifth highest CO2 emitting country. Nearly 40% is from power plants, half of which are coal-powered. What action should be taken against the climate crisis? One way is to reduce fossil fuel use and promote environmentally friendly renewable energy sources such as sunlight, wind, and ocean. Because such renewable energy is less cost-effective than fossil fuels, it is necessary to take measures such as imposing a carbon tax on private companies and tax reductions and exemptions for using renewable energy. Many actions can be taken at the individual level. For example, we can participate in a divestment campaign. Divestment, the opposite of investment, means eliminating your money invested in unethical work or projects, such as promoting the use of fossil fuels and contributing to the climate crisis. According to research from an NGO, many commercial banks are still channeling billions of dollars into the coal industry, and Japanese banks were among the top 3 lenders to the coal industry between 2019 and 2021. Like divestment, we can participate in many activities and campaigns relatively quickly, raising awareness about environmental issues and creating opportunities to address the daunting issue of climate change.
Clean energy. A tremendous amount of carbon dioxide gases is being released into the atmosphere at an increasing rate due to human activity, causing what is known as the greenhouse effect. Carbon dioxide gases come directly from burning fossil fuels for electricity generation and toxic emissions from factories, automobiles, etc. In addition, fossil fuels, also called exhaustive energy sources, are limited, so fossil fuels, organic remains of prehistoric plants and animals, cannot be used extensively forever. It is estimated that we have consumed about 40% of the world's oil. If we keep using fossil fuels at the present rate, we will run out of oil and gas within 50 years. Shifting to renewable energy sources would be paramount for making life sustainable for the present and future generations. Renewable energy has many benefits. For example, it does not directly cause greenhouse gas emissions and can decrease pollution. Renewable energy is, well, renewable. Once renewable energy facilities are built, the cost of the energy source, sunlight, wind, and tidal power, would be minimal. While renewable energy has many advantages, they are only minimally used. Just 13% of our energy consumption is renewable energy. This is because there are several hurdles to overcome. First, it is difficult for renewable energy sources to generate power on the same large scale as fossil fuels. For example, solar plants must be located in areas with plenty of sunshine year-round, such as deserts. Second, both solar and wind energy are intermittent. They only generate power while the sun is shining or while the wind is blowing, so batteries with higher energy density and storage capacity are needed. Despite these technological challenges, a shift to renewable energy sources would significantly contribute to reducing greenhouse gas emissions and pollution caused by fossil fuels. Many companies are taking the initiative to move away from fossil fuels and promote clean energy. For example, a major Japanese railway company switched to power generated only by renewable energy sources, solar power, wind power, hydropower, and geothermal power in 2022. In doing so, the company has achieved zero carbon dioxide emissions for all its train networks and stations, including vending machines, security cameras, and lighting. Advancing technology makes renewable energy more accessible, affordable, and efficient. Many more companies need to take on the challenge of combating climate change.
Clean water and sanitation. If you were to view the Earth from space, you might be surprised by how much of our planet is covered by the ocean. This image of a water planet gives us the impression that we are surrounded by abundant water. However, the amount of usable fresh water is surprisingly small. It is estimated that fresh water only makes up 3% of all the water on Earth. Furthermore, most of the fresh water is not readily accessible because it is in frozen glaciers. Only 0.8% is available for use. Thus, water scarcity is a widespread problem in many parts of the world, especially in developing countries. Access to clean water is indispensable for everyone. It plays a vital part in the nutrition of individual health. Contaminated water can lead to various illnesses, such as diarrhea and infectious diseases. Despite its necessity, the human right to water was not recognized until recent years. In the aftermath of the Second World War, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights was issued in 1948, stipulating that we are all entitled to freedom from slavery and discrimination. However, it did not state free access to water because it was considered obvious then. In 2010, the UN officially recognized and declared access to safe and clean drinking water and sanitation as a human right, implying that we are in a state of shortage of clean water. There have been many attempts at resolving the problem of water scarcity. An Italian architect, Arturo Vittori, designed the Warca Water Tower to provide an alternative water source for rural areas where people must walk miles every day to carry water from rivers to their homes. The tower is made from bamboo trees, which collect moisture from the air through rain, fog, and dew, and water is brought down through natural processes such as gravity, condensation, and evaporation. This structure enables people to receive approximately 100 liters of water a day. According to a study conducted in 2017, as many as 820 million people do not have access to a basic toilet facility and are forced to relieve themselves in open areas. A Japanese organization has collaborated with a company to develop a portable toilet. The portable toilet, made by a Japanese company, can be easily installed and rinsed with only 200 milliliters of water. The company launched the Toilets for All initiative and has implemented its portable toilets in many countries across Asia and Africa.
Marine resources protection. As far as we know, Earth is the only planet in our solar system where life exists. The earliest known life forms emerged in the sea 3.5 billion years ago and moved onto land 400 million years ago, evolving into plants, insects, amphibians, and other life forms. All living creatures, including humans, depend on bodies of water for food, energy, and hydration. Despite the necessity of water, we have severely damaged the bodies of water and other precious marine resources. Many marine animals are dying from plastic garbage in the world's oceans. Japan is one of the world's biggest plastic waste producers, second only to the United States, and this trend has accelerated in recent years. We have seen a proliferation of plastic waste, such as water bottles, polystyrene netting, and disposable food containers. To make matters worse, only 9% of plastic is recycled worldwide. The rest is incinerated, sent to landfills, or lost to waterways and oceans. Because plastics require hundreds of years or more to degrade, plastic waste has accumulated in the ocean, polluting the waters and killing marine animals. The World Wildlife Fund, WWF, estimates that ocean plastic pollution will quadruple by 2050. There are many organizations like WWF trying to mitigate the problem, but they are hampered by the financial cost. Thus, governments and manufacturers must provide financial incentives to reduce plastic waste. Consumers like us also need to contribute to tackling this daunting issue by shrugging off our dependency on single-use products, items that are used only once and then disposed of. Refusing single-use products, such as plastic straws and bags, is an important step towards solving the problem. Overfishing is another issue threatening the marine environment due to technological advancements that have made fishing in excessively large quantities possible. Overfishing disturbs the ocean ecosystems and the billions of people who rely on seafood as a major source of protein. Without sustainable management, our fisheries will collapse, leading to a food crisis. To encourage sustainable fishing, an international NGO, the Marine Stewardship Council, MSC, uses a blue eco-label to identify seafood that has come from sustainable fisheries certified to its standards. This MSC label has been displayed on tens of thousands of products in over 100 countries around the world. If you want to contribute to maintaining and improving the ocean's health, you can choose seafood with a distinctive blue label. Our understanding and actions play a vital role in protecting the ocean resources and our livelihoods for the future.
Biodiversity and forest protection. It is often said that the loss of biodiversity, the variety of plant and animal life in the world, is a severe threat to mankind. Still, it may not be very obvious why we should protect particular species and maintain biodiversity. Biodiversity is like a tower of life where all different plants and animals coexist and mutually depend on each other. This biologically diverse system needs to be kept in balance in order to function. But if blocks are removed one after another, then the tower will become more and more unstable and eventually collapse. A biologically diverse environment provides various important functions. For example, soil purifies water, trees store CO2, and vegetation regulates temperature, all while providing a natural habitat for wildlife species. These functions are no longer available once the ecosystem is lost. Unfortunately, a loss of biodiversity is underway. According to a recent report, almost 70% of the world's monitored wildlife was lost between 1970 and 2018. One major cause of biodiversity loss is deforestation, the intentional or accidental removal of trees and other vegetation. Deforestation is occurring on a massive scale, as evident from the destruction of the Amazon rainforests. It is estimated that at the current rate of destruction, the world's rainforests will completely disappear within 100 years. Deforestation has devastating impacts on the environment and significantly contributes to climate change. The forestry and agriculture industries are responsible for 24% of greenhouse gas emissions. Because trees absorb greenhouse gases, fewer forests mean more greenhouse gases entering the atmosphere, accelerating the effects of global warming. In addition, forests provide habitats for over 80% of plants and animals on land. Thus, increased deforestation destroys these habitats, diminishing the biodiversity in rainforests where thousands of species are becoming extinct. However, agricultural activities often promote deforestation. Farmers chop down trees to plant crops or to make room to raise livestock. Countless trees are cut down by logging for wood and paper products. Deforestation is also taking place as a result of growing urbanization. The effects of deforestation are massive and need to be slowed down or stopped. Various efforts have been made to minimize the impact on our planet. For example, managing forest resources, planting and growing trees, reforestation, and creating new forests, afforestation. Tackling deforestation is particularly crucial in preventing further loss of biodiversity.
Health and well-being. It is essential to promote good health and well-being, which are closely correlated to each other, for all ages. Well-being refers to the state of being comfortable or happy. Good physical and mental health are considered key indicators of well-being. To maintain good health and well-being, we should eliminate many diseases, relieve mental stress, and address various continuous and emerging health issues. Progress has been made in improving health and well-being, such as increasing access to clean water and sanitation, reducing child and maternal mortality, and treating diseases like malaria, tuberculosis, polio, HIV, and AIDS. However, there is still much to accomplish, particularly in developing regions. For example, more than 10% of children in Africa die before the age of 5 due to pneumonia, diarrhea, or other diseases. According to UNICEF's report in 2016, 122 out of 1,000 children die in Somalia, and 120 out of 1,000 children die in Nigeria. Child mortality rates of these two countries are extremely high compared to that of Japan, where only 2 out of 1,000 children die by the age of 5. In addition, newborn deaths account for nearly half of the deaths among children under 5 worldwide, with 2.6 million stillbirths occurring and another 2.6 million babies dying in the first 28 days of life every year. Maternal mortality has fallen by almost 50% since 1990, but remains very high, about 6%, in developing regions, 14 times higher than in developed regions. Although maternal mortality is no longer a significant issue in developed countries, other serious health problems, particularly mental health issues, still persist. Death from overwork, or karoshi, has been a serious social problem in Japan. Karoshi refers to death caused by brain or heart disease due to work overload or mental disorders triggered by strong psychological strain at work. In the worst cases, overwork and work stress might lead to suicide. Many companies are working to improve work-life balance in order to reduce overwork and contribute to a society where people can continue to work in a healthy and fulfilling manner. For example, Many Japanese companies have promoted initiatives to create a working environment in which a diverse workforce can maximize employees' abilities through various implementations, such as to reduce working hours by strictly prohibiting overtime work and to support childcare and nursing care. It is hoped that through such attempts in each company, a well-being society can be achieved in which all people can continue to work in good mental and physical health.
Eliminating poverty. Approximately 730 million people, roughly 1 in 10 people, live on less than $1.90 per day. Over half of those living in extreme or absolute poverty are children, mostly in sub-Saharan Africa. The cost of just 1 carton of milk could cover their food, clothes, and shelter. The UN defines extreme poverty as a condition characterized by severe deprivation of basic human needs, including food, safe drinking water, sanitation facilities, health, shelter, education, and information. It depends not only on income, but also on access to services. In simple terms, extreme poverty is when people cannot afford necessities such as food, water, shelter, clothing, education, and health care. In Japan, not many people suffer from extreme poverty like starvation. However, there is still a problem with relative poverty. It is measured by how many households have less than half of the average income. Individuals or families may have enough to meet basic needs, but they still find it challenging to keep up with the average living standards of their society. Relative poverty is often used to understand a country's income inequality and social disparities. Poverty can have multiple root causes, such as climate change, lack of access to basic health care and infrastructure, inequality or discrimination, conflict, and instability. Unexpected events like hurricanes, floods, or droughts caused by climate change can push people into poverty by destroying their homes and jobs. Insufficient access to health care and sanitation can result in serious illnesses which prevent people from succeeding in school or keeping a stable job. Conflict or war may force individuals to leave their homes and possessions behind, leading to impoverishment. Escaping poverty can be difficult once someone is trapped in it. The United Nations plans to end world poverty by 2030. The situation seems complicated, but there are many things we can do to address poverty. For instance, donating clothes, books, medicines, and food to those in need can help to support those in poverty. In addition to donating, you can also volunteer with a charity organization working towards ending poverty. Raising awareness about the problem through a campaign or fundraising can help fight against poverty. Every person has the right to live above the poverty line. Eliminating poverty is a matter of justice.
Zero hunger. Although it is a given fact that nutritious food is essential for maintaining our health, many people in the world suffer from hunger. It is estimated that 1 in 9 people worldwide does not have enough food. Hunger is one of the leading causes of death in the world. It affects people worldwide, including in developing nations, war zones, and in rich countries with significant economic inequality. Hunger results from various factors, such as climate change, poor infrastructure, poverty, and war and conflicts. Rising temperatures are causing the soil to dry up, making it more difficult to grow food. Also, importing food from other countries can be difficult, especially in places with poor infrastructure. The difficulty of transporting products from one place to another makes them more expensive. Poverty is another cause of hunger. Some people may go hungry because of unemployment, expensive housing, or medical bills. They must rely on government funding, food assistance programs, or donations. Due to war, others may have been forced to leave their homes and abandon their farms. Hunger is not only about the price and availability of food. It also means people do not have equal and reliable access to safe and nutritious food, such as fresh fruits, vegetables, meat, and dairy products that maintain our health and immunity to disease. Poor nutrition affects physical and mental growth, so a healthy diet is vital for well-being. We need to take action toward eliminating malnutrition in the world. In Japan, the term hunger doesn't feel like something nearby. Instead, there's a discussion about the problem of food loss, where a significant amount of food is wasted. At the same time, we should not forget that an estimated 1 in every 6 or 7 children is struggling with poverty. Since 2012, numerous children's cafeterias have been established to offer free or low-priced meals to local children whose families are undergoing financial hardships. Another issue we need to consider is labor shortage scarcity in the agricultural, forestry, and fisheries sectors due to the aging population. We might encounter food shortages in the future. To address this issue, Japan's Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry, and Fisheries, MAFF, finalized the Green Food System Strategy on May 12, 2021, which aims to produce and distribute food sustainably, to increase the agricultural population and improve the efficiency of agricultural work. The goals include zero CO2 emissions from fossil fuel combustion in agriculture, forestry, and fisheries, a 50% reduction in chemical pesticides, and a 30% reduction in chemical fertilizer. We can end world hunger and related deaths by working together towards the same goal. What action can you take right now?
Gender equality. Gender equality should be a fundamental right. Their rights, responsibilities, and opportunities should not depend on their gender. This entails that they can develop their skills, think and act for themselves, and determine their choices without limitations set by stereotypes and gender roles. Unfortunately, today, women and girls are denied opportunities because of gender. In certain countries, girls spend time doing their unpaid chores at home instead of going to school. If girls can be educated, become skilled, and have opportunities to get jobs, this will positively impact the world around them. But there are different reasons why this is not the case. For one reason, values, core beliefs, and inherited customs play a big part in how gender roles are assigned. This limits how women live their lives. For example, in some countries, women cannot own property or receive an inheritance. In many cultures, child marriage under 18 is still practiced. This may lead to domestic abuse, neglect, and complications during childbirth. The primary reasons for mortality in teenage girls stem from these complications. Pregnancy at a young age can impact a girl's health and future, especially if she does not have an education. Even in places where men and women have equal rights legally, there still may be a gender gap in pay, leadership, and representation in government. In Japan, women enjoy equal access to education and health care. However, according to the 2023 Global Gender Gap Report from the World Economic Forum, WEF, Japan holds the 125th position out of 146 countries in the overall ranking. Among G7 nations, Japan has the poorest standing. How does the WEF evaluate gender inequality? It examines data on women's status across 4 key areas: the economy, education, health, and politics. Japan is positioned unfavorably in the politics category due to its low representation of women in parliamentary and ministerial roles. In fact, only 10% of parliamentary lawmakers and 8.3% of ministers are women. Furthermore, Japan has never had a female prime minister. Traditional societal norms make it hard for women to succeed in a political career. People often criticize the government for not doing enough to get women into politics, while others believe that the main problem is that most of the people in charge are men. Additionally, Japan's economic ranking is low. This reflects factors like low female labor force participation and the wage disparity between men and women. All women and girls should be valued and treated equally as human beings, and receive equal opportunities in the social, economic, and political world. For instance, women should have equal opportunities for education and employment, make their own healthcare decisions, and become contributing leaders in government. What can we do to eliminate gender inequality? Countries and organizations should invest in girls' education and work towards changing laws and awareness so that women can have equal positions and pay. The good news is that the number of women leadership positions worldwide has doubled since the year 2000. The Japanese government aims to achieve a 30% representation of women in executive roles at leading companies by the year 2030. More women are getting the chance to succeed in work and politics. They have more of a voice in making decisions and choices that affect the world.
Quality education. Through quality education, people can gain the knowledge and skills to stay healthy and learn about global events and their rights. It also helps them get stable jobs, which helps their countries prosper and opens the door to many opportunities to attain their dreams. As people learn more about the world around them, they may care more about global issues. To provide quality education, we need enough teachers, as well as learning resources such as books, computers, supplies, and safe and clean schools. Quality education also means having opportunities beyond basic literacy and numeracy skills. Children who go through a good learning environment become valuable community members. Certain countries, such as Singapore, invest considerable money in education and provide sufficient resources for learning. Although the Sustainable Development Goal aims to ensure that every child receives an education by 2030, approximately 260 million children are still not attending secondary or even primary school. More than half of the children who are not in school live in sub-Saharan Africa. If prompt measures are not taken, about 825 million children, which equate to half the global young population, will lack the essential skills required for future employment within the next 10 years. Instead of going to school, some work to earn money or help care for their families at home. In some countries, girls are prohibited from attending school, or their families do not consider education necessary. Schools are sometimes too far away from home, and access to transportation is lacking. Some households may not have enough money to pay for tuition and school supplies. People living in war zones may be forced to flee their countries, and their local schools may be destroyed. Even children who make it to school may not get a good education because of overcrowding and a lack of trained teachers. Without acquiring a formal education, they have fewer opportunities to earn a sufficient income in the future. People living in poverty are also more likely to get sick, making it harder to keep a steady job. Countries of the UN are working towards building schools and libraries in developing countries. They also provide teachers with training, supplies, and space to create a better teaching environment. In Japan, the government is trying to tackle the issue by reducing the financial burden of education and making early childhood education more accessible. The government is also establishing a system that provides reduced university tuition and exemptions for low-income households. Quality education can allow people to earn a decent income and eliminate social, class, and gender inequality. Learning about other countries and our own can help us create a democratic and peaceful world where everyone is equal.
Decent work and economic growth. Many people work not only to earn a living, but also to feel a sense of purpose. We feel fulfilled when we provide a service to people who need it, or work as a team to achieve a specific goal. Everyone wants to work in a safe and comfortable workplace. When a working environment is comfortable, the community becomes much more robust. In a good working environment, employees' health and well-being are protected, and they get paid properly for their work. This can improve their quality of life. In this way, they have more freedom to use their unique skills and provide services, so protecting labor rights and taking appropriate actions against inequalities are essential. According to the UN, GDP and labor productivity increased globally, but growth has slowed and inequalities have widened. By 2030, 60% of the world's population will be living in cities, and it is estimated that approximately 470 million workers will be required. In some areas, there are not enough jobs to keep up with the growing number of workers. Therefore, employers do not need to offer ethical, productive work and a fair income for all. Jobs in such places often do not have safe working conditions or social protection for families. A tragic incident occurred in Bangladesh in 2013, where an 8-story garment factory collapsed, killing around 1,500 workers. The incident brought increasing attention to the need for companies to engage in sustainable management for ethical, productive, and fair working conditions. When economic growth is not inclusive, more people struggle to find secure and stable employment opportunities. Additionally, some people willing to start or expand their businesses may encounter obstacles as a result of banks denying them loans based on factors such as gender, ethnicity, or disability. These exclusionary actions can lead to stress and tension within the communities. In extreme scenarios, it can even push individuals towards engaging in criminal activities and violence. How can we promote sustained economic growth while creating full and productive employment to reduce poverty and inequality? It is imperative to continually invest in training and education, thereby empowering individuals to transition into secure employment opportunities, irrespective of their socioeconomic background or gender. Crowdfunding enables anyone to contribute to starting or growing a business. Technology can also support growing enterprises and job creation. As individuals, we can make decent, ethical choices when we buy products with the Fair Trade logo showing they were made in ethical working conditions. Every worker deserves to work in safe, inclusive, and equal conditions. Local communities can ensure inclusive and sustainable economic growth while maintaining workers' work-life balance.
Partnerships. We may feel powerless against the insurmountable global challenges that we face. It can take work to solve a problem independently. Still, achieving this is attainable when we collaborate through beneficial partnerships at different levels, globally, regionally, nationally, and locally oriented, including in developed and developing countries. Global challenges that affect us all require global solutions. The SDGs can only be achieved through strong global partnerships and cooperation. We are all interconnected. For instance, the air and water belong to everyone and are never confined to one region. It is everybody's responsibility to make them cleaner, starting with cutting back on CO2 emissions in the air and reducing plastic waste in the ocean. It would not be feasible if only half of the world works towards the goal while the other half pollutes the planet. Problems drift and flow around the world, impacting all of us in one way or another. Collaboration between nations gives us hope to solve global issues, although this requires equality and mutual respect. Groups of people with shared interests need to come together. For example, millions of people are forced to flee their homes due to wars and civil conflicts, persecution, and natural disasters. Protecting the rights of refugees and migrants requires collaboration among countries to provide safe places for them, make sure they get a fair chance for safety, and prevent human trafficking. Solving such large-scale problems is only possible through collaboration. Fortunately, the pathways toward accomplishing the SDGs are intricately linked and interdependent. Another example is education. Education is a powerful tool to address inequality and the ability to secure decent jobs, which also leads to the issue of hunger and poverty. When people have equal opportunities for education, it helps reduce economic and social disparities. Education helps individuals make informed choices and advocate for their rights. When people are educated, they can participate more actively in their communities. Additionally, when more people are educated, it helps the country's economy grow, and that creates more job opportunities, and as a result, achieve higher standards of living. Every action that we take can tackle multiple issues simultaneously. We are all facing the same problems together, and we are all part of the solution. Who can you partner with in your community to make the world a better place? As Malala Yousafzai said, we must work, not wait. Not just the politicians and the world leaders. We all need to contribute. Me, you, we. It is our duty.